Good afternoon, my name is Sandy Baresi-Šegota from the Department of Automation and Electronics, Faculty of Engineering, University of Rijeka, and I will be showing a short demonstration on how to add a robot and create a robot path in ABB RobotStudio. The goal of this is to simply show our students, especially our Erasmus students, on how to finish some of their tasks in class. So this is the RobotStudio. You should have been, if you are our student, you should have been provided a license to it. If you haven't, contact me. And we are going to start by creating a project. So we are going to make sure the project here is selected, and I have accidentally started one. So we have a new project started, but instead of that, the simpler way to make sure a robot and virtual controller are added is by going here and selecting a robot and virtual controller. So we can click here, and it's going to let us choose a robot and a controller that we are going to use. How to select a robot? You are going to select one that is appropriate to whichever task you are trying to create. Before coming in here, you can look at these various robots online. There are multiple configurations for similar robots, as you can see here for RB 360. You can just pick whichever you find appropriate. I'm going to select the RB 120 because that's the robot I usually use for my experiments. Once I have selected that, I'm going to make sure robot is selected here. I don't need to customize any options, and I can just go and create an option, create a project. I can add it manually into an empty project, but this is a simpler way to assure everything fits and you won't run into issues. Great, so what we have here is most robots that ABB produces will have different variants depending on some minor modifications they have introduced within the life cycle of the product. This generally doesn't matter for your task here, so we can just pick absolutely any one. Okay, and we have our small robot here. I'm just going to move the viewport a bit by clicking the right mouse button and the mouse wheel to make sure we have a better view of it, and I'm just going to zoom out a bit so you can see it better. Great, so the task for our Erasmus students here is to add a path to this robot that simulates some sort of a manufacturing process you have found in literature or online, maybe from a YouTube video or something. Once you have for example, found a YouTube video and checked it and saw how a certain manufacturing process, maybe car painting or part movement or welding or whichever process that caught your fancy, that you are interested in and want to replicate in, you know very well how it works, how the movement is. You can come here, you can add the appropriate robot, and you can recreate that path. You can click on the robot here on the left side, and then we can add a path to it. For that, we are going to select in this ribbon, we are going to select path and click on the bottom of it where this little arrow pointing down is, and add an empty path. Once the path was added, we can add individual positions and instructions to it. For example, we can add an instruction in this default state it is in as the starting point. Clicking here inside of the path is going to show that we now have a instruction in here. Now we need to move a robot a bit to create a path. There are various ways we can do it. For the purposes of this task, we are going to go with the simplest possible solution, and that is by manually moving the robot. So if we go into the ribbon cable here, into freehand option, we are going to have these options for movement. The ones we are interested are this one, which is jog joint. Jog joint allows us to move each individual joint of the robot. Then here we have jog linear, which is going to allow us to move the end effector in X, Y, and Z position in tool space of the robot. So here we are moving it by Y-axis, here we are moving it by Z-axis, and here we are moving it by X-axis. Finally, we have jog reorient, which is going to let us rotate the robot while keeping the end effector in the same X, Y, and Z position. If you remember, these are the Euler angles of the robot. If this happens to you and you misclick and it goes away, you just need to click near the end effector of the robot and it's going to reappear. So with this we can rotate the robot in different positions. Great. Now, once we have that, to just rotate it more like it was initially, and we can see that we have, through this demonstration, moved the robot a bit. We are going to say this is the second position of our path that we want to move it in. For example, obviously we have to do that, and we are going to add this position. How to add this position? We are just simply going to go to this path programming option where we added an empty path before, and we are going to select the option teach instruction. With that, we can see that a new target has been added. Then we can, depending on what our process was, we can move the robot along the path we are interested in. Let's say we are trying to do a little pick and place operation where the robot is going to be moving something from this position to position here. We can simply achieve that by adding instructions. And I have moved the robot to this position. I'm just going to rotate the end effector so it points down. And that is going to be my path. You can see that I have that RobotStudio has taken these instructions, which are drawn in red, green, and blue, at each point that I have added an instruction, and has interpolated a path between them. So now to just execute this path, I'm going to right click onto the path and select the option move along the path in the menu that opens, and I'm going to get the robot moving across the path. Something that we can see here is the event log. We can see that we have certain errors. This means that we have created a path that is inappropriate. Here we have only gotten a warning, which means that the path is mostly valid, but there could be a minor error near the end that doesn't allow us to move the robot near the path. If you get this, you need to readjust your movement by possibly deleting some of the instructions and adding new ones, and then just retrying the path. Same goes if you get a proper error. With that is pretty much it. We can save this project to whichever location it's saved in. We can see where the library projects are. We can save it, and if you're submitting this for class, just send me the say the project file and or the video of the robot moving across your path. Again, if you get a warning like this, for the purposes of the class you can simply ignore it, but if you get a proper error that doesn't allow you to execute the path, you will have to recreate the path, find the error of your path, in your path, and delete it. So do keep that in mind. My advice is to, each time you add a new instruction or a couple of instructions, to just test the path continuously as you work by moving the robot along the path. Thank you, then that should be all. If you are one of our students, you have my contact, so if there are any questions, you can feel free to contact me again and ask whatever you need. Thank you and bye.